Hello everyone and welcome back to another great Super Cool Radio interview. I'm your host as always, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for tuning in. Before I start talking about my guests, just a quick reminder to thumbs up this video and make sure to subscribe and turn that notification bell. That way you don't miss any new interviews or episodes. I got a really great guest who's making his second appearance here on Super Cool Radio. It's been a little bit since I've chatted with him, and I look forward to having him on the show again. He is Alex from Cold Leather Seats. This band is a really cool folk rock band based out of Michigan. In this interview, we discuss some of their latest songs, performing live compared to recording in a studio, some of Alex's favorite songs to perform live, the future plans for Cold Leather Seats, and so much more. I hope you enjoy this interview. Please check out and support Cold Leather Seats. But right now, let's dive into this interview.
Super Cool Radio.
Before we jump into the show, I want to tell you about our merch store on Threadless. Shop a wide variety of logos with multiple colors and sizes available for each design. Your support is greatly appreciated and helps us continue to make killer content like this episode. Please visit supercoolradio.threadless.com or the link in the description to shop now.
I got a really great guest making his second appearance here on a Super Cool Radio. He is part of a really cool folk rock band from Michigan known as Cold Leather Seats. Please welcome Alex.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's nice to have you back on. As we were talking a little before this interview, it's been a little bit since our last conversation, so it's always nice to have you back on.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you taking the time. And like we were talking, you had reached out after I had reached out, and man, I think almost 8 months had gone by, maybe more, and just like that.
It's nice, just everything lined up so well, and we're here. So yeah. So I know you've been pretty busy with Cold Leather Seats. Got a few new songs out and a few other things in the works. So before we get to talking about Cold Leather Seats, I got a fun question to kick this interview off.
Oh boy.
We'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes. But for you, what are 3 things that are guaranteed to be in your refrigerator right now?
Oh man, we got oat milk, which all my friends gonna make fun of me because can't have dairy. I don't know how that always comes up somehow. We got bell peppers, probably favorite vegetable, and let's see, I've got a can of salmon all the way from Alaska when I was up there this past summer.
Very nice. Very nice, diverse selection of stuff.
Very diverse.
But dude, I mean, I love peppers. I'm a huge fan of putting anything that peppers can go on, like salad, meat, wherever. I'm putting peppers on it.
Yeah, they find their way in.
Exactly. So before we talk about Cold Leather Seats, so you were in Alaska.
Yeah.
How was that experience?
It was great. So I don't know if you knew this. I grew up in Wasilla, Alaska.
I did not know.
Okay, yeah. So I grew up there. Grandparents still live there. Parents still live there. So I try to get up there at least once a year. And I hadn't been up there for a summer for, I think, going on 2 years. So made the trip up there with actually one of our current band members, Isaac Frisbee, who's playing bass for us. He came with, and then my now fiance, she came with as well. Started out as a girlfriend and then proposed to her on that trip. So it was a huge adventure.
It sounds really awesome for multiple different aspects. So I just got a few questions about Alaska. I'm from the Midwest, haven't really left the Midwest, so I'm just curious now. Like, I've heard like the mosquitoes are like really bad in Alaska. They're very they are
epic. They drive people insane. If you've never spent any time in like the alpine tundra, which is strange to think of mosquitoes there, but it's just clouds. Like every square inch of your bare skin is vulnerable.
I was very curious. I've seen some photos and videos. So I'm very accurate as per your description as well.
Photos are true, sadly, but not all the time. Not the whole year. There's usually a couple weeks in the spring to get pretty bad, and then just up and down throughout the summer.
No, right. I was just curious. I know, Midwest, we have very tiny mosquitoes that are more annoying, more annoying than anything. But those over there look a little bit more beefier.
They call them B-52 bombers. They're huge. They're slow, thankfully, but they do some damage.
Definitely look like it. Last thing about Alaska, and then moving on to the cold leather seats. So it's like the most like Alaskan kind of like meal that you would have in Alaska.
Growing up, we ate salmon 3 nights a week, straight from either the river or the ocean. Wasn't too far away. My family did a lot of fishing, and so meal of sockeye salmon from the Kenai River, potatoes from the garden, broccoli from the garden. You can grow some things, up there, cold hardy species like that, but that's pretty standard meal in the Svoboda household, I guess.
Right on. All right, so now focus on cold leather seats right now. So again, as I said last time we spoke, you guys have released a few different songs over probably about a year and a half, 2 years, I think. So the first one I wanted to talk about was where we are, which I very much enjoy. I've been listening to that last night. What was the message in the song?
So the song really is about all the people in your life that make home such a special place, because I know for a lot of people, home changes. I know for me, home has been many different places. Currently, it's Michigan. But what keeps me here is the people in my life. And so that's what the song is about. And we've had a lot of powerful experiences playing that song, and people coming up to us after the show and saying, "Oh, that song really stuck with me. I love the message." And, we've absolutely loved playing it.
Oh yeah, no, I very much enjoy it. It's very, at least for me, very emotional. Just you kind of think of like, at least for me, like where you kind of started, growing up to kind of where I am now, and the family structure and all that stuff right now. So that's what I was thinking about, like when I was listening to the song.
I'm so stoked that that's what you picked out of it, because that really was kind of the mindset I have when writing that song, and kind of like you said, a bit of a journey within that song, a little bit of a story there.
Yeah, journey is very, very good word to describe that. And also what I really liked about was there's a music video for the song. Looked really cool. Again, I like with the 2 music videos you guys, there's a lot of nature and like being outdoors, and it just looks so beautiful.
Yeah, so that was a cool shoot. So our good friend Jeremiah Pilbeam, who also is our music producer, does all our recordings and everything from White Elephant Records in Big Rapids, Michigan. Him and I had been going back and forth, like, man, we really should do a video. Like, the song is so good. Like, we really should have something to go with it. And he's like, I got an idea. I got a buddy down the road. He's got just beautiful property. Let's just shoot it there. And he's like, I've got some ideas. Well, for some scenes that you do see in the video. And so he had a friend named Mariah, who is an expert videographer, has done a lot of shoots. And so we all got together one day, and I think it was end of June of this past summer, 2022. And we just spent maybe an hour and a half out in the woods, just not messing around, but just enjoying the time out there. And Jeremiah had such a good vision for how it would end up looking, and kind of not so much choreographed movements, but kind of like, hey, kind of walk over there, here's how to look cool. He's good at helping me do that, because I'm kind of mechanical and awkward. But he helped kind of coach and guide and okay, do this because he's been in that industry and doing those things. And so we spent maybe an hour and a half. It was a hot June afternoon, and Mariah had some amazing camera work and some great editing and put it together, and we turned out phenomenal. And then I can't forget the footage that's interspersed throughout that video. Those were from 9mm film. Is it 9mm, 8mm? What?
I think 8, is it 8? I'm not
Oh
sure.
my gosh, someone's gonna watch this and be like shaking their heads, and I was like, it's
Well,
not.
well, I deal everything digitally. I don't have I don't have to worry about film.
Yeah, we'll say 8mm film.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, yes, continue.
From when he was kids or was a kid, and then when his cousins were children, and his parents were young, and so that's the other footage you see interspersed throughout there, and that was to kind of tie it back together to that element of family and togetherness and being at home, and then kind of that journey too. So the finished product, I was just blown away because I was hoping for really anything, and it was phenomenal.
Yeah, it definitely was, and I like how it blended like present day, present day with also the millimeter footage that you also included in throughout the video. I thought it was really cool because it kind of blended like past with present. I think it turned out really well.
Yeah, and then we submitted it. So just by chance, literally the last day of the submission period for the Michigan Music Video Awards, and a couple months later, I had forgotten about it, and I got an email from them saying, "Hey, you've been accepted to the competition as a nominee." And I'm like, "Whoa, wait, what? You're joking, right?" The second music video I've ever done, and so we ended up going to the Michigan Music Video Awards this year, which was their second annual event, and it was so cool. We did not win our category, but we had some just incredible competition and amazing musicians, and that was at the Frank Center for the Arts down in Marshall. It was a beautiful event there at the theater. But yeah, it was a mind-blowing event for us. We're like, whoa, just throw this out there and see, and people loved it.
Yeah, and to just be even considered, for it as well.
Yeah, and I couldn't believe when we got there because they didn't send out a program or a list of the nominees beforehand. So was kind of looking at the email chain they sent out, like just saying, "Hey," before the event, and didn't know any of the emails, really couldn't figure it out. But just some phenomenal local and statewide acts, some acts that are touring nationally. We in our category, like the Americana kind of country category that we got put in, the Accidentals ended up winning, and they're a group that's now based out of Nashville, playing all over the country. I'm like, oh my gosh, like we're being even considered in the same category, but it's just such an honor.
Well, it sounds like an amazing experience. Very, very happy you guys again to be considered. Again, second music video, and you guys got considered for this, which is a phenomenal, very high honor as well.
Oh yeah, it was incredible.
So I'm really happy for you guys. I just want to mention real quick, like Jeremiah, awesome dude. He knows so much about just the music industry. From like you're talking about the filming of the music video to he's a phenomenal producer. The few other bands I've listened to that he's produced music for, always sounds phenomenal.
Yeah, I can't speak highly enough of him. His talent and his skills are remarkable, and then just his generosity with his time and his willingness to help and just say, "Hey, here's an idea," like, and not to, he's never imposing that. He's like, "Hey, here's an idea, and what do you think?" He's a team player, and yeah, it's been phenomenal to work with him.
Oh yeah, definitely, for sure. I've only talked to him a little bit, mostly through messages and stuff, but
Mhm.
super nice dude. And he just, and all of his stuff is like, he's got kind of vintage, like, like with some of the equipment he uses and stuff, but he's just so good at what he does.
He is, and he uses all that knowledge and the vintage gear, and he's like kind of a gearhead. He collects guitars, and he uses it. Like, he doesn't just have a collection that sits there. He uses it to his advantage to put out some amazing music with the artists he works with.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I did just want to cover that a little bit because
Oh, he deserves some recognition.
exactly, for sure, for sure. So now, before we talk about another song that you also released, I do want to talk about. So for you, is it kind of different? Like, do you have to prepare different mentally to like record in a studio compared to like performing live?
That's a good question. I've not thought about it in that way before. And I would say I prepare very differently. I guess mainly because just now we've played so many shows that I'm more comfortable playing live oftentimes than I am going into the studio. If I stop and think about it, because we put out a couple of songs, spent a lot of time in the studio just in those songs, but every week we're playing a show. So I'm trying to think of like what a good example of preparation would be. Kind of for me, like for a show, we try to get there hour and a half or so early, get set up. I like to take some time just to myself to put together our final set list and kind of do a little warm up and just kind of usually sit and drink a beer. And that gets me energized and ready to go. And then have a great time performing. For the studio, I'm still learning to overcome kind of some of the stress of like trying to get it right. And I think that's something I'll get over with more experience, because I know I go to the studio very uptight. Mainly just because I know that we can make something really great, and I want to do it like right the first time. But now that you asked that question, I'm going to think more about how I prepare for the studio and how to bring that that performance mindset, that looseness into that.
Well, say, hey, maybe next time I talk to you, we'll see how that has progressed. Because
Yeah,
of
I'll
that.
definitely let you know. That was a great question. That's going to make me think about it.
I definitely try to include like just different questions to make people just think a little bit differently about like what they do. And I'm glad you really enjoyed that question. Again, I work very hard on these questions, so I'm glad you enjoy.
It shows. I like it. I'm going to think about that.
So it's kind of fun. Like I'm similar. Like when I'm doing like an interview like this, I'm usually pretty loose, pretty relaxed. But like I was doing my solo podcast, which is just me in front of a camera, kind of similar to this setup. And like I always want, all right, you got to say this correctly, you got to do this. Like it's a very different, because like I want it to be perfect, as you were talking about. And I always like mess something up, and I get mad at myself.
And I imagine with the with the podcast, it's with the camera and everything in front of you, you're much more self-aware.
Yes.
You're trying to get it vocally right. You're trying to get it visually right, and everything.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a lot different. Like this, like I've got the interviews down because I've done, I don't even know how many. I lost count after 250. So at this point, like
50.
if I'm not comfortable, I probably never will be. So at least now I'm like I feel pretty relaxed at interviews. I was very uptight when I started, but now I'm just like let's hang out and have a conversation.
It's great. You're doing a great job. 250. Congrats on that.
Thank you. A lot of work, but I did want to talk about for you another great release for Cold Leather Seats. That was Beautiful Nights. How was the writing and recording that song?
That was a lot of work. The recording part was very drawn out. We took a lot of time to develop kind of sonically where we were going with that. One thing we've kind of done with all of our songs is I kind of have come into the studio with more of a skeleton. So, I had the melody down. I had the really prominent electric guitar part, the rhythm part down. And it was something I've been noodling on for a couple months, and I put some words to it. Writing the lyrics to that song were relatively easy. I wrote the song about my fiance, who at the time we were just dating. But we talked a lot about marriage and getting married. And so I wrote the song once I wrote the kind of the melody. I had no like really direction with it. And then once I put those words to it, it just fit together perfectly, and I loved it. And that helped me to complete the song, because I now had an amazing target to reach towards. So we put the song out in September of last year. Prior to that, we've been playing it live a lot, and I had always announced the song as, hey, here's a song about a very special girl in my life, or something like that. And so it's really exciting to then be able to say, hey, I wrote this song for my future wife, and to see the reaction from people, and then immediately pay attention, and then enjoy the song on top of that.
Oh, for sure. And again, I like the backstory behind it as well, and I'm glad for everything worked out very well, and beautiful song. And now you guys are she's your fiance now, and it's just so awesome. I'm really happy for you.
Thank you. Yeah, we're getting married June 17th, so it's coming up.
Nice. Well, I wish you that everything goes very smoothly, because I heard it's very stressful time for some people, for weddings and stuff. So I hope everything goes very smoothly for you.
It's been going well. We're a good team, and we've been knocking out all the wedding planning stuff. So we're coming to the finish of the wedding planning stuff, and we're just very excited for the day to finally come and to be able to celebrate.
Oh yeah, for sure. But very happy for you. Again, I hope everything goes very well, and I'm glad the process has been going pretty smoothly for you.
Yeah, it's been good. Never planned a wedding before, so
I haven't either. So
because it can go, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're totally fine. Be totally fine. Definitely no issues with planning weddings ever.
No, never. No, zero stress, zero confusion. You have all the answers right away.
Exactly. Well, there's this one I was watching, World's Funniest Weather, which not necessarily weather related, but it was a wedding video, and it was they were like outside by a pool, and the best man went to give the rings, and he tripped, fell into the bride, and they both fell into the pool along with the pastor, whoever was officiating the wedding.
Yeah.
So hopefully, there's not a pool around at your wedding. I hope not.
Oh my gosh! If there's a pool, we're filling it in. I don't think there's a pool.
Good. I'm glad. All right, I got one more question before we wrap up this interview.
All right.
So for you, you mentioned you guys been playing a lot of shows, from since the last time we talked up until now. Do you have a favorite song to perform live?
A favorite song to perform live? Oh man. Well, Beautiful Nights has been way up there. We it's a little bit of a change sonically for us, so it adds a bit more energy sometimes to our set of folk rock. We mix in a few covers, but we're working on a lot of new original music, so that adds in a nice, happy, clean energy to our set. So that's a big one. We play a song that I've really enjoyed lately called "Take 'Em Away" by Old Crow Medicine Show. You'll probably recognize them from their song "Wagon Wheel." Is their big hit. We've been playing that song "Take 'Em Away," and that's a fun one. And every single time, no matter what, people are singing along, they're listening, they're kind of dancing a little bit, which I love that, seeing that energy and be able to share that with the audience. So I think right now, those are my two favorites. So we'll see how that evolves between now and the next time we chat.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I know you guys will be working on some new music, so we'll see. Maybe I'll ask that next interview. Maybe I won't. We'll find out.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. So last thing before we close this out, what are the plans for the rest of 2023? Obviously, obviously you're getting married. Yeah, obviously that's a big thing for you. But what about for cold leather seats for like going into the fall and into next year?
Yeah, that's a great question. We are busy people. One thing that makes our schedule so challenging is we all work full-time jobs still. So this is the dream is to someday, be able to just play music, but we are, doing what we can. So right now we've got a bunch of really big shows lined up. We've got actually one coming up this weekend in Grand Rapids at a venue called The Stray, which is going to be great. We're playing with another local singer-songwriter named Sean Miller from the Grand Rapids area. Remarkably talented. We got to know him last year playing festivals. And then we got a show coming up for Coyote Crossing Resort in Cadillac, Michigan. And we're opening for a band who I actually saw open for one of my favorite bands. So kind of interesting there. They're called Full Chord. They're a not strictly, but they're a very traditional bluegrass band, and so we're not quite that, but I'm so excited to play a show with them, and that's coming up June 3rd. And then we got some time. We're planning the studio coming in July, so really excited for that and getting some things recorded. We've got a lot of fun ideas. And then this fall we're playing a bunch of shows in August, playing at the Forest Trail Music Festival, which is in a little small town called Free Soil, Michigan. We had a ton of fun there last year, so we're very excited to go back. So yeah, a lot of shows and hopefully recording a lot of new music.
Hey, I like it. I can dig it. I hope you guys had great shows lined up, and I know you guys got some great music in the works as well. So where are the best place to find Cold Leather Seats online if anyone's curious?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Cold Leather Seats. And then you can follow us. You can find our website, which is coldleatherseats.com. And we keep our show schedule up to date. We've got our music videos and all of our original songs we've put out all right there. And you can join our mailing list. So always trying to grow the mailing list.
Yeah, good plug. I like it.
But that is the best place to keep track of us. I sometimes remember to post on TikTok, but I'm not always the best about that.
I got you. I understand that. So I will leave some links for Cold Leather Seats in the description of this podcast. Please check out, support them, join their mailing list. I will advocate for that as well. But Alex, great time hanging out at the end. Thank you so much for stopping by Super Cool Radio.
Thank you so much for having us. Always a pleasure. Been enjoying the show, and I share it with all my friends to get them to come check you out.
Hey, I really appreciate it. I appreciate all the support you guys have given me as well. And again, thank you so much for stopping by. So for Alex of Cold Leather Seats, I'm your host as always, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for watching and listening to Super Cool Radio. And remember, stay frosty.